The Dallas Cowboys have just made one of the most aggressive and fascinating roster decisions of the entire offseason, and it sends a message not only to their locker room, but to the entire league about the direction of this franchise heading into 2026. Placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens is not simply a procedural move to retain a talented receiver. It is a declaration that Dallas believes its offensive identity still revolves around explosive perimeter playmakers, and that losing Pickens right now would destabilize everything they are trying to build. The financial implications alone tell you how serious this move is. With the salary cap rising to over $301 million, Pickens' tag number lands at roughly $27.3 million for one season, a massive commitment for a team historically cautious about cap allocation. This is not a bargain bin decision. This is a premium investment in a player the organization views as irreplaceable in the short term. Yet the non-exclusive nature of the tag adds intrigue, because it allows other teams to negotiate with him. Dallas is essentially daring the rest of the league to test how much they value Pickens, confident they can either match any offer or accept 2 first-round picks as compensation. That is a high-stakes poker move, and it reflects a front office that believes it holds leverage. What makes this situation even more compelling is the emotional component reportedly surrounding the decision. Pickens is said to be energized about remaining in Dallas, which matters more than outsiders might realize. Franchise tags can often fracture relationships, turning negotiations into standoffs that linger into training camp. Instead, this feels like a calculated pause before a long-term extension, a placeholder that keeps the offense intact while negotiations continue behind closed doors. For a team trying to maintain continuity after coaching and schematic changes, stability at wide receiver is critical. And continuity is exactly what the Cowboys are chasing across the roster. While the Pickens story dominates headlines, negotiations with All-Pro kicker Brandon Aubrey quietly signal another priority: retaining elite specialists who provide hidden wins. Close games often hinge on reliability in the kicking game, and Aubrey has become one of the most dependable weapons in football. The organization clearly does not intend to let him walk. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer emphasized that Aubrey wants to stay, and that mutual desire reduces the likelihood of contract drama. Keeping a top-tier kicker may not generate viral headlines, but it stabilizes the floor of a team's performance across a long season. Meanwhile, the most transformative changes could be happening on defense under new coordinator Christian Parker. His arrival signals a philosophical shift, particularly with reports of position changes for players like Marist Liufau and Donovan Ezeraku that hint at a transition toward a 3-4 structure. Scheme changes are never cosmetic. They reshape roster needs, redefine player roles, and determine draft priorities. Parker's reputation for developing young defensive backs also places a spotlight on second-year corner Siobhan Revel, who the organization believes could become a cornerstone piece. His rookie season was delayed and uneven, but flashes of pressman ability suggest he could thrive in a system tailored to his strengths. If you're enjoying this deep breakdown of the Cowboys' offseason strategy and want analysis that goes beyond headlines into real roster implications, now is the time to subscribe and stay locked in, because what happens over the next few months could define the next era of Dallas football. The draft looms as the next major inflection point, and Dallas appears heavily focused on defensive reinforcements, particularly at cornerback. Prospects like Jermid McCoy represent the type of instinctive ball-hawking defenders Parker could deploy immediately. McCoy's combination of route recognition and finishing ability fits a defense prioritizing takeaways, though medical concerns following a knee injury complicate his evaluation. The team's extensive list of combined meetings, especially with linebackers and defensive linemen, reinforces the sense that the Cowboys are preparing for a defensive overhaul rather than a minor tune-up. Schedule projections add another layer of urgency. Based on early metrics, Dallas faces a moderately difficult path in 2026, with divisional rivals improving significantly. The rising competitiveness of the NFC East means internal improvement may not be enough. The Cowboys must outpace teams they will face twice every year. Division games often determine playoff seeding, and the margin for error shrinks when opponents close the talent gap. Off the field, the organization faces a quieter but important issue revealed in player report cards regarding facilities and training conditions. While the team scores well in areas like nutrition and family support, consistent criticism of training resources suggests potential friction points that could influence player retention over time. In an era where franchises compete not just for talent, but for reputation as player-friendly destinations, these details matter more than ever. All of this circles back to the franchise tag decision. Keeping Pickens ensures the offense retains its explosive ceiling while the defense undergoes transformation. It buys time for the front office to recalibrate its historically conservative free agency approach, which has drawn scrutiny for limiting roster upgrades. Data suggests reckless spending does not guarantee success, but selective aggression could push Dallas from contender to championship threat. The challenge is finding that balance without compromising long-term stability. Ultimately, this offseason feels less like routine maintenance and more like a strategic reset disguised as continuity. The Cowboys are holding onto their most dynamic offensive weapon, reinforcing key specialists, reshaping the defense, scouting heavily for impact rookies, and quietly acknowledging structural issues within the organization. Each move alone might seem incremental. Together, they form a blueprint for what the franchise hopes will be a return to dominance. If the Cowboys get this balance right, they could emerge as one of the most dangerous teams in the conference. If they miscalculate, the window narrows quickly in a league defined by parity and relentless competition. That is why the decision to tag George Pickens may ultimately be remembered as the moment that revealed Dallas was either all in on its current core or simply postponing a larger rebuild. As the offseason unfolds, every negotiation, draft pick, and schematic adjustment will trace back to this pivotal choice. Cowboys fans should brace for a roller coaster, because the next phase of this team's identity is being shaped right now, and the stakes could not be higher. If you want more in-depth documentary-style breakdowns of the Cowboys and every major NFL storyline, make sure you stay with this channel, because we are tracking every move that could decide who lifts the Lombardi Trophy next season.